We're going to start standing this morning. Traditionally in yoga, morning practices start upright, okay? Usually it's more of an evening thing to lay on your back, all right? So, we were just laying down for hopefully about 7-8 hours, so we'll stand up. So take a moment here to tune into your body. I like to kind of start with my feet, lift my heels and my toes. Even just kind of wiggle my knees and bend my knees a little bit, just to kind of run through with a very subtle kind of activation of the body. Okay, I'll squeeze the butt, lift the core, kind of roll my shoulders back and down, roll up my wrists. It's kind of like when you exit Shavasana. It's these little feel-good movements. Okay, then I work the posture, rolling the shoulders back and down, lifting the crown up. So there's this thing that you say in yoga, it's like turn your mind and body on. Right? It's like you got a switch for the activation of the mind and body. You turn it on, and now you're on. Okay. Nice slow inhale in your nose. Once you connect to your body, maybe start connecting to your breath. So now still the body. Breathe smoother and deeper in and out the nose. Just some of the Kriya breathing, right? Where we elongate the breath. The Kriya breath has many layers, but the first one is just to kind of elongate it. Deepen it, not only on the inhale, but also the exhale. And then eventually you can work on holding the breath at the top and bottom. So this is called isolated breathing practice. We're not doing anything else but focusing our attention on our breath. Some other things you start to add is just nasal breathing. So you might take a few out the mouth to start, but then lips sealed, teeth touch, tongue against the top of the mouth, in and out the nose. We're also working on bringing the breath into the abdominal cavity, the middle ribs and side ribs, and then the upper chest and upper back too. So those 3-part breath. You can also add the bandha work. But I'm not going to go through it all in detail this morning, but just some reminders to make your breath more skillful and let's say complete. So we're going to start with a little bit of Kriya here. I like to add Kriya in the morning. Now, how I teach Kriya often isn't it's traditional, but I like to add some aspects of modern fitness into our yoga practice because we don't want to be closed-minded. We don't want to label certain things as physical yoga, all right, and others as not. So here we go. Let's start by reaching our arms up nice and tall. And it just looks like this. Big inhale. You're going to shift your weight to one foot. Exhale, you're going to pull your elbows down and then your knee up. This is like a play on something we do all the time, right? Inhale. I'm going to reach up. I'm going to stretch up. Exhale. And it looks like this. You're just going to inhale. Exhale. It's just like cobra in the arms, and it's just like lunge or, a knee into the chest on your back. It's kind of like this, right? It's kind of like this, except you're doing both arms, right? So it's so similar to something we do all the time. It's a little different. And I do encourage you some days, yogis, to speed it up. This isn't like a super weight-bearing exercise, so it's safe to do cold, and it's much more safe to do fast. Some days it is good to get some power breathing going, where I'm not saying see how fast you can move or you have to move fast. I'm just saying, let's wake the body up. And fast movement's really good for that. It's going to get that blood flowing. It's going to get the heat building. So, And then sometimes I've told you, some of the Kriyas, they go an hour. So we're not going to do that because we do this for an hour. That'd be a lot. So we'll stick at about a minute there. All right, let's widen our feet, yogis. And then we want to start to move the pelvis. So that was a very major joint. So your elbows, your knees, your ankles, right? So now we're more into like the hips and the core. Your core was working, but not like a super lot. Now the core takes a big movement. All I'm doing is what's called laterally tilting. You can see my head isn't really moving, or my feet, it's just this mid-body. So from the side, it's just side to side. But now I'll add on, so you kind of what's called progression, where you just kind of circle the hips. So now we're moving that body. All right, I'm bending my knees. Now I close my eyes and I start to feel. Okay, I start to feel here. So if you're just joining, we did some of this movement. Right? We've done that movement in so many different ways. It's kind of foundational. And then now we're swiveling the second direction, getting a little bit lower, maybe a little bit tighter. So it's a very like exploratory movement, right? Very dance-like. This is what I usually teach in the gentle yoga. Got to get that body moving. It kind of like turns on everything in all the legs. All right, so now we're going to come into a little squat movement that I like to do here. Now we'll go wide-angled squat. So we're just thinking Kriyas, big arm circles, right? You kind of bend the knees and reach down. It's like exactly like a deadlift in fitness, right? Then you inhale, arms up, you kind of stretch up and back a little. And then the arms, I like to bring them like forward and down, then inhale back and up so I get the big arm circle. You can do wide, up, straight down. We do that one a lot too, okay? But if you want to add a little bit more, your arms come kind of forward and down, and then they go like back and up. Okay, you almost like back bend a little bit. Last few. You know, the most traditional Hatha asana, it does start pretty intense. You know, it's the yogis, the meditators who created Hatha yoga to maintenance the physical body and to learn yoga through physical awareness they were sitting a lot in meditation. So they developed this system of maintenance to the body. It also, like Ashtanga, boom, you're right in the sun salutation. It's like the first thing you do, and that's a big, full body challenging movement. All right, I know a lot of the modern yogas sometimes start just seated meditating, but no, we're trying to move all that energy first, and then we sit in meditation when the energy is really moving and alive. All right? All right, next movement here, yogis. You're going to notice this here. You're familiar with this. It's a yoga posture you do all the time, but we're going to do it side to side. So it looks like this. We're going to inhale here. So we'll call this neutral symmetry. And then you're going to turn your right toes out, your left toes in. You're going to go to warrior two. And we're going to kind of go slow here. We're going to kind of pause, shoulders back and down. And then you're going to inhale, straighten. So there is this pivoting on the feet. And then you're going to go warrior two to the second side. So that's what it is. It's just warrior two to warrior two. Neutral, symmetry, warrior two to the first side. And that's all you're going to do, side to side for maybe like 6, 8 more times. So the idea is to understand the action, the intention. Close your eyes and make it a meditative, self-aware study with your breath, with your body, just to be very present with yourself here, yogis. So it's warrior two to like a big arms up and pivot on the feet parallel. Yeah, if you're just joining, we did a couple of movements to get here, but we're in a nice wide stance now, right? And it's warrior two, neutral, warrior two. It almost looks like a jumping jack in the arms, right? A few more. And I want to do one more similar type thing here, yogis. I'm going to bring you right into it so we don't waste too much time in demo. You're back in this neutral, but now the arms will start here. The arms go way more asymmetrical now. It's basically a pivot to high lunge, but a push and a pull. We've done this one before, where as I twist my core to the left, my hips pivot left, my left knee is bent, my right arm pushes forward. And then I kind of come back to center. And then I exhale. And then can you make this movement a dance meditation? Inhale and exhale. So I pull my left arm back. I push with my right arm. And then I inhale, exhale. And it doesn't have to be so rigid, right? It can be It can be more exploratory. A few more times. Get into it, please. You know, I want to encourage my regular yogi practitioners. Uh-oh, I'm getting a delay here. I want to encourage my regular yoga practitioners to get outside the box of just rigid discipline yoga poses. You know, I like a lot of that. I'm big on discipline, but we also want to really try to awaken this creative aspect within ourselves, not just like art or writing, but like more like as an internal creativity, dance type movement, and you know, awaken that artistic, what they call like right brain in the postures. All right, so let's do our first stretch, yogis. Widen your feet, bend your knees, inhale, lift your heart, and then let's take it down. So this is first inversion. Take a few breaths there. So first inversion, yogis, you can do a big inversion if you want. If you really feel like you want to go to down dog, you can. I'm just kind of switching it up a little bit. Sorry, I'm right here with my little pup. She's going crazy this morning. So I gotta keep she's looking for more food, looking for more breakfast. All right, big inhale, yogis. Nice and slow. Let's bend the knees and let's rise up. We will do just a little bit of sun salutation egg. So think full body, big movements. Okay? Arms down by side. Stand tall. Big inhale in your nose. Big exhale. No rush getting there. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. High plank to low plank. Let's step it back to our first high plank. Maybe pause for a few breaths. Engaging your fingers, engaging the glutes and the thighs, the buttocks. Shifting forward. If you'd like, a few extra push-ups. Push-ups are fantastic, right? I pretty much do push-ups every day, you know, whether it's for strength or warm-up. When you're ready, take it to your back bend, either halfway or all the way. We already did a lot of movement, so you might be ready for a bigger back bend. We'll come back to downward facing dog. So down dog, take a breath or two. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm seeing like a huge delay. There's like a 5-second delay on my camera. But hey, no worries. A little challenge for you guys. All right, downward facing dog. On your inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Work on that handstand hop, a float, or just a skillful dance walk forward. So can you make this creative too, right? On your inhale, a half lift. On your exhale, we'll forward fold. We're just gonna do 3 rounds here. On the inhale, we'll rise. We'll reach up tall. And on the exhale, we'll bring those hands through heart center. If you can go on your own, just go on your own. That's what I would prefer. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. I'm going to speed up a tiny bit. Inhale, half lift. High plank, step back. Maybe pause. A couple push-ups might feel good. Back bend on inhale, meet back in down dog, please. And it's good if you're ready for your first inversion, right? Like headstand, handstand. You can do that instead of all this because we already did so much movement. Last round, inhale, bend knees, look forward. Hop or step your feet to the front of your mat. On your inhale, we lengthen. I tend to do it with more strength now. Exhale, forward fold. We inhale, we rise. I do want you to work on reaching up to get stretched to your side bodies and waist. You basically make your body really tall. And then with that height, you just bring the hands through the prayer center. One more round, please. Go ahead, inhale. Exhale, take it down. Inhale, half lift. Looking good, everyone. Some of you are kind of doing your own thing. High plank to low plank. We're not going to do a ton of these today, so you get them in now if you want to do them, all right? I know there's a few of us, people who love the chaturangas. Listen, yogis, feet back and down dog. So now we're going to hold the dog. 5 good breaths. Lift the sit bones up and back. Relax the neck. Let the head hang low, please. And then you work on a little bit more like discipline. It's been a lot of movement, so a little bit more refining of body action, pressing in our hand and thumb down. In yoga, we call it, yoga cues, or in science, it's called potentiations. These little things you can do to make the body work more intelligent. A big one is just trying to work the weight to the midline. So pressing like the big toe and the index finger and thumb down. So you lean weight outward, everything is like heavier. So work on straightening that elbow a little bit more, rolling the upper outer arm down. So that's a rotational cue. That's called torque, where you can use rotational actions to also be stronger and more supported. Now the tricky one is your thighs roll, your inner thighs roll back and out. So that's a internal rotation in your thighs, external rotation in your arms. So it's different there. But if you learn to add rotational strength, these postures are way easier, all right? Downward dog. I know, long hold here, yogis. Feet step closer together. Inhale, right leg goes high. We're entering a little bit more classic kind of yoga mode here. You might be ready. If you are, you can flip your dog, spinning on the outer edge of your foot, right foot off your mat behind you. Very kind of like dancer-like posture. A lot of these were in class on Thursday and yesterday on Saturday. We did some really nothing traditional, bringing it a little bit more traditional now. All right, it was very kind of awkward. Every single thing we did was, unique and different. So let's get back to it. Big inhale, right leg goes high. No rush. Exhale, right knee, forehead. Let's step our right foot forward. Let's rise up to our high lunge. I'm not going to do high lunge. We already did lunge and warrior 2. We also did horse stance. So we're done with those. Let's get to it now. Hands behind the lower back. If you can do reverse prayer, do that instead. Palms bind, shoulders roll back. Bow the chest, tiptoe the foot forward. We're in it. Our warrior 3. If warrior 3 is too much, just stand up and do tree posture. A balancing position. If you lean your chest forward, it's going to be much more core and hyper range. We did dynamic hamstring stretching. We did static. We did abducted and adducted. So you're pretty ready here to bend over a little bit more in the tension of the back line. Now go slow. Bend standing knee. Land the left foot at the back of the mat. Rise up to that high lunge. Just the breath there, not long. Now we go for the deep static twist. In warrior 3, we were straightening the knees. Now bend the front knee, hands in prayer, bow the chest, start to twist. Left elbow outside right thigh. So postures done in like backwards, let's say. Usually you do this one first. Lengthen the core. I'm dropping my back knee. I'm a little tight, a little tired this morning. I'm taking it easy. Front knee over front heel. Let's lengthen through my core. 3, 4 more breaths. You get into the physical twist, and then you breathe with your heart and soul. Inhale, take your time. Let's just rise it up. Take it to that lunge. And then no rush here. Take it down, high plank. Right leg goes back and up. So I'm going to skip the vinyasa for now. I'm going to work on some more postures in between here. Downward facing dog. We're going to inhale, shift forward to plank. Side plank, heels to the left. Breathe. So remember Thursday, we didn't do side plank like all week. We did this like kind of weird forearm type side plank. So we're getting back to it. I do side plank usually, most times I exercise, usually like a moving form in side plank for me. Okay, side plank, second side. This is our first round. So usually on the first round, you might hold less. Any warm up, or let's say first set of any exercise, usually it's less time, easier, less range, a little bit softer activation maybe. You know, it's the definition of a warm up. You're not necessarily like, you know, say you're doing 5 sets of something. The first 2 are usually easier. Maybe the second, the third, and fourth are the strongest, and then even the fifth might be almost an unwinding round. Okay. Now I'm going to do the active back bends here. So go slow. We'll come back to our high plank. We will lower down to the chest. And then we're going to bring our arms wide. I do this set a lot. This is where we have side plank like this, and then locust like this. So it's side body here, and then back body, not front body, okay? Lay on your chest, arms go wide, please. This is big, it's called back fly. We need to activate that back, okay? Everything starts to lift, chest, arms, legs. Legs are about hips width distance. If you want more advanced, legs squeeze together. Try to point your toes and engage your thighs so your knees straighten via quadricep contraction. All right, so then from the hip, I lift that femur bone, it's the big leg bone, right, you know, above the knee there. But don't arch your back too much. Pull the navel in to support that arch. Shoulders back and down, back of the neck lengthens. Last 2 to 3 breaths. All right, big inhale. And then go slow, lower down the exhale. You're more than welcome to take up dog or cobra, but we're gonna be back in down dog. So if you need a quick child pose, that's a good idea. If you need to, you know, if you wanna do an inversion, by all means. I invite that energy in my class, yogis. If you're having a good day, don't hold back, man. You don't need to do another side plank. Do something that challenges you more. All right, downward facing dog, here we go. Feet step closer together. Take 1 breath to start. And then exhale, and then with the next inhale, left leg goes high. Open up the hip. This is active stretching here. So your hips stack. Your right armpit lifts, your palms press down, the back of the neck softens. Try to get more space through like your waistline. And notice the tendency is your right heel always lift. Some of you just flip your dog here. That's a big pose. Don't take that one lightly. We haven't done this posture all week either, right? So we're bringing it back around here. Left leg goes high eventually. Let's not hold that one too long. Your pace though. Left knee, forehead. Take that slow. Forehead to knee. I know some of these little things can get repetitive, but come on. Slow it down. Left foot steps forward. Just take a moment to rise up to high lunge. So the first posture here, we want our arms behind us, all right? Because the next one, they're going to be here. So take the arms behind us. Now, I didn't do this one today. I said bind the hands, but, you know, on a challenging day, you do that one. But opposite pinky bind. This is called the Sushumna. You know, and it helps us develop more of this reverse prayer, okay? Bow the chest, start to tiptoe your back foot in. Let's just go right for that warrior 3 hold. A little bit longer hold this morning. Eventually, your chest is parallel to the floor. Your back leg is parallel to the floor. Now, that left leg is forward, and it's going to want to compensate. You can bend that knee. That's the start. Eventually, you will lock your standing leg via quadricep contraction. You know, like I was saying, straighten the knee more by engaging the muscles above the knee. In locust, I said it. But that top right hip here is going to want to lift because the leg is lifting up and back. Drop your right hip down, pull your navel in a little bit, lift that right leg up, and either point your toe or flex your foot. So a little bit longer hold now, yogis. We did some warm-ups for this. If you missed the beginning, we did this kind of knee lift into the chest. It's a really good warm-up for this. Now I want you to take your time. Some of you are already done there. You just take it back to lunge. Think of this like a kind of neutralizing moment here. The arms go back up. Now they go in front of you. And then we go for the static, the long hold of the wringing out of the core. I bow, and then I twist. Remember, you can just drop your back knee. You don't need to go crazy every morning. Lengthen your core, shoulders back and down. Deep breathing. And I didn't say it, but you know the deal. You could spread your arms. You could work on a bind. You could reach your top arm forward. You know, you can arm balance Kundalini from here. You can go crazy if you want. Depends on how you're feeling, right? The yogis are always talking about this kind of balance of like compassion, and this is deep philosophy, but the ahimsa, the balance of that with the shakti, with the courage and the power. So it's like this balance. Some people get too caught up in this power practice, and it always has to be strong. And they're not good at recognizing when their body needs it soft, and they have to be compassionate to the body. Okay, inhale, high lunge. Science agrees. It's basically like bad to like exercise when you're really tired. Okay, hands plant, left leg back. You want to shake it out a little bit. You take a moment for yourself. We are going to do our second round of side plank. I will give a little bit of an option today. Like I said, I pretty much always do moving side planks or like a strong variation. Shift weight to your right hand. Now heels go to the right first. Okay. You know, I like to do this little movement here. It's like extreme core. You know, where the hips are heavy and the waist has to control the weight of the pelvis. So it's this little movement up and down. Okay. There's also this one if you're feeling it. You know, I said I always do a moving. This would be more like a twisting, where my left arm kind of reaches under, my left shoulder turns down. It's almost like I'm going back to high plank, but I don't. I go back up. Those are two more simple variations. There's lateral leg lifts, top leg lift. There's, you know, a variation where we could do like a fallen triangle here. You can even flip your dog again if you're really feeling that position today. Don't go, you know, too long here. This is a tough one. We'll come back to high plank. This is your last round of side plank. So make it a good one here. Your right arm will go to the sky eventually. You know, this is a posture we have to be careful about over fatiguing it. You know, when muscles start to give, the tension goes more into the joint, the compression, or the tension, you know, here more compression probably. But the joint connective tissues start to take a lot of that pressure and weight, and really joints are not meant for that, especially if it's happening unintentionally. You know, you want to irritate your joints, turn off your muscles and put a lot of weight into them. That's how you like dislocate, tear things like labrums. That's like the joint capsule. Joints by definition really aren't weight bearing body parts. They're for movement. So if we put too much weight on them, they harden and stiffen, and then they can't move. And by definition, they lose function there. If your body can't move in the joint, that's like the first thing. You have to create movement and then strength to stabilize the joint. All right. So when you're done with your final round of your side plank, come back to your high plank, slowly lower down to your chest, please. And my classic little thing I do all the time, here we go. The wide arm locust. So take a moment if you need, because we're going to go for a little bit longer of a hold. And we're going to lift everything up. Arms. Try to bring your shoulders back and down still. Point those toes so much your thighs start to lift. And then your knees are going to want to bend. That's called anti-flexion. So what happens is here, you get up in the pose, and rather than, you know, it's really more of you're not lifting up anymore. It's like you're battling not going down. So that's called like anti-flexion. Your hips want to flex, your knees want to flex, your spine wants to flex, but you're not letting it. And I've often told you, yogis, this is like my favorite back bend, because bridge doesn't strengthen your lower back that much. It strengthens your hips. Lower back's a tough place to strengthen, really, because your phasic glutes and your erectors, everything wants to take over the weight, and the lower back never gets the strength, just like the rotators of your hips and shoulders. The phasic always want to dominate tension and compression, all right? Big inhale. Nice job there, lower down, optional back bend, optional child pose if you need. Take a little breather. We're not done yet, so, you know, take a moment if you need. So we did strong weight bearing here, back, side, downward facing dog. So take a moment just to kind of reset. So whether it's child pose or dog, traditionally in yoga, we work towards resting more in downward dog. All right, now that takes some time, and some mornings that's just not, right. So child pose here would be maybe good. So I am going to teach the little handstand hop this morning. We didn't do it all week. We didn't do inversions on Thursday or yesterday. So let's get back to it. Feet step a little forward, shoulders over wrist, big inhale, little bend, little hop, soft, quiet landing. Little hop, soft, quiet landing. Some days that's just not in the cards. So you could take a little breather. You can work on holding down dog. We did arms here. We did arms behind us. Arms above us, holding down dog. Really good to strengthen your shoulders, okay? So it is good to do a lot of that. It also resists, it helps the underarm open. Don't forget, you can try one-legged hop if you'd like. You can turn to the wall. I want to get back to the Hatha yoga inversions. If your wrists bother, you can do forearms or a quick headstand. Last few tries. Just last night I was thinking, like, what haven't I taught? And I was like, well, anything traditional, even yoga core this week was, Tuesday. So all the strong classes have been not much traditional yoga. There's been no inversion. So let's do it. All right. All right. Hop forward, please. Feet to the front of your mat. Feet about hip width distance. Chair. So I'm not going to go too deep in chair right now, all right? I'm going to find my chair pose, but, up a little higher, shift my weight to my right foot, left knee lifts. We did this in the beginning of class, but now internally rotate. So, externally rotate, inner shin up, then softly rest it on there. We haven't done this one in a while. It's a good one. Good strength and stretch. Sit low, weight in the right heel, reach the arms high. You're more than welcome to bring it down a little bit lower for a bigger stretch. Don't round the spine, though. It's more of like a hinge at the hips. See how my spine stays long relatively? So I'm not going like this. Here, last few breaths. If you remember last Sunday we did the eagle posture. These two are kind of similar. One-legged chair. Okay, big inhale, side to side, classic Hatha yoga. We did a little vinyasa with some strung together movements. Find that chair. The idea is to keep your arms up, yogis. I know it's not easy, all right? Right foot hovers. Inner right shin turns up. I pause there for a moment. And then I rest the outer ankle heel and I sit into that chair. Yeah, it's like a standing figure four. We do this one on the back a lot, the stretch. But here's where we have to work on pressing the outer edge of that right foot on the thigh. So whatever ankles cross, you actually do push that down a little bit, right? So it's almost like I want to get better at activating even this leg more, right? So I'm pressing the outer right foot in there. My active right knee is opening. Everything is kind of engaging. Remember in class yesterday, we did toe squats, medial squats. We did glute lateral squats with hinges. We also did, what was the other one? Oh yeah, the hinging squat, right, chair. So we had all those weird chairs. This is one you're a little bit more accustomed to. All right, go slow, yogis. Inhale up, arms up. Let's just bring our feet down, back to the classic Hatha yoga. Intertwine your fingers. I'm gonna have you turn your palms up today though. And one of my all-time kind of favorite lateral positions, squeeze the butt, reach up, and then get your side bend going. Lean the weight with the heels, press the mound of the big toe. As you side bend, turn your chest up to the left. So if you side bend right, turn your chest up to the left, but bring your left hip forward. Lengthen out more. It's called like the standing crescent moon. It's very classic, really good stuff. Inhale up. Let's not hold too long, let's work you, but also be kind to you. Second side. Nice. Yeah, some days you bend a little deeper, right? Some days you got to stay upright more and just be in here. And some days you go a little further. Big inhale. Exhale, back up to center, arms down by sides. Separate your feet about 3 to 4 feet apart. Turn your right toes out, turn your left toes to the right. Triangles. So these are like main lateral, the side plank, crescent, and here. We're not going to do half moon today, all right? So we're going to work this. Right toes face to the right, left toes also turn to the right, arms go wide. You may want your block, drop the right hip down, reach out, hinge. So my arms were just up a lot, and now they're back here again. So it's kind of like going from like down dog to side plank and locust. You can see that same pattern. We don't have our arms just down by side much, all right? Don't forget to add a little half bind. It's always good to throw the arm behind you more too. And if you're feeling good, bottom arm might reach forward. So it's more strength always. Yeah, nice. I'll do a full bind some days too, right? Full bind triangle is not easy. That's where that inner right arm meets the inner right knee, and then boom, you're binding, working on straightening, okay? So we're in classic side-to-side practice right now. We're not wasting too much energy putting things together. Still work on movements in between. Little bend in the knee, releasing binds. Rise up, switch sides. We already did the warrior two stuff, that movement in and out. You're done there, okay? Left hip dips, biggest lateral tilt. Yogis, the reason we got to do this one is because even though we did side plank and standing crescent, there's no lateral tilt. There's also, minimal adduction. Side plank, it's so abduction. It's like your outer hip work, outer leg. Here, you have to work on squeezing your legs together, right? We're not pushing the legs outward apart. They're outward, and we're trying to hug together to stabilize. So I always like to say, like, don't rely on your sticky mat. These new yoga mats, they're like so tacky and sticky. They kind of actually are not making us strong in the way yoga is designed to work sometimes. You want to squeeze your legs like together underneath so you feel your inner thighs light up, all right? Last couple breaths there. Nice. Some of you is getting a little bit more creative. Please, by all means. I like to do like arms behind my back, Sushumna some days. I'll do reverse prayer here. I'll do both arms forward if I'm feeling really good. It just depends on the day. All right, yogis, now please go slow. We're going to slowly pivot to the side. No rush. And then we're going to pivot to face forward. So we are going to go into warrior three, but really it's a standing half moon. So we're not doing every yoga pose. We're just skipping through, choosing some today. We have not done this in a while. I teach this a lot of classes, but revolve moon is the pose. Right hip back, hands start on hips, shoulders roll back and down. A skillful movement into your warrior three. Have your block handy if you're going to work it. Left hand goes down on the block or the floor. I lift my left hip, lengthen my core, and from my core, I twist to the right. I lift my left leg, my right arm might go out and up. All right, yogis. In a lot of beginner yoga classes, this is called peak position. It is a big one. All right, so go slow, feel it out. Whenever you need to exit, exit slow. Some of you are binding, by all means. If you know how to go for revolve chapa, that's probably, intermediate yoga there. So it's basically balance, stamina, extreme complexities of asymmetries, right? It's strength, it's flexibility. Okay, no rush. No, it's a good 30, 45-second hold. Soften your standing knee, right hand comes down. With your core and your back, lift your chest, land down, facing the right leg Take a moment if you need, but we basically just go side to side. That's the classic. Bend left knee, hinge. Finding your warrior three. And then eventually it's your right hand that reaches down. Just make sure there's a lot of space. So, you know, it's like this, yogis. Like you can see the space between, it's like hip to shoulder distance between right hand, left foot. So, you know, you're like this. Somebody has had this thing where you're like this, you're here. And then you twist to the left. Nice, yeah, left arm go out and up. Nice, some of these even hover the bottom hand. That's where you're really starting to be in like these hyper asymmetrical ranges and apply more weight. That's a big one. So, you know, we always are working to bring more weight basically into the legs on the average, okay? Good general rule to remember. Last few breaths. Uh-oh, I lost most of you there. I like to teach Revolve Moon not in sequence often because it's, you know, you string it together with 5 other postures, you're done there and you can't even give a good go here. Left hand down, left knee bend, rise up, pivot to the side. One more balance posture. It's very different. It starts what's called the heel balance, which is usually in the advanced series of balance. I'm going to pivot to the side. So again, I turn my feet to the right and my chest and hips to the right. Watch me here. I lift my back heel. Arms might go up. I lift the ball of my front foot. Even though we were doing balance like this and this, it's very stable. Now you go very unstable, where my feet are about hips width distance. My right foot, just my front foot heel is down, and then just the kind of back toes down to the foot's down. And I'm in this very kind of unstable. The goal is to be in that, remain in it, try to balance and focus. The heel balance, right? More so than not, I have you do toe balance, which is what we did yesterday. The heel balance, though, is good because sometimes you see people, they're like front foot heavy. It's a little bit more rare. Most people are heel heavy when they're walkers, right? Probably including myself. And I try to remind myself to bring weight to the toes as I walk. I'll walk around like this on purpose where my heels are lifted. Second side, please. Just pivot to the side. To the other side there. About 1 minute, please. Final standing posture. After this, we're going to go big, just traditional, a boat, a wheel, a stretcher 3, and then you're done. As the yogis say, you've done your ana dharma, the focus and study and maintenance and sacred awareness of the physical body. It's called ana dharma. There are many types of dharma. Ana dharma is actually not considered that important in yoga, right? We get too obsessed with just the relating to the physical body. We don't do enough of the energy work, the mental work, the emotional work, the subconscious study. These are all these different layers of dharma related to the self. The karma dharma is one of the biggest ones, the study of your karma. That's one of the Ananda Mayas. All right, so when you're done there, kind of lost track of time, so take your time. We're going to slowly stand up. So everything was very unstable and asymmetrical. It was crescent, triangle, revolve moon, standing, balancing splits, yogi squat. Widen your feet, arms go high, get low, good old yogi squat. So this is that last opportunity for a good arm balance. Crow, Titibhasana, Kundinyasana. Simple, hands flat, elbows hug in, hands turn out, knees on triceps, shift forward, don't round your back. Excuse me, don't drop the head down, look forward, spread your back, and let's get flying here. Big toes touch, heels pull up. Remember, you can go on your forearms if you'd rather do like forearm balance or something too. Headstand is a big one right from here against the wall. On a good day, yogis, you can just skip. You're doing yoga all the time. You can skip some stretches. You can skip boat and just do a big inversion. Teachers say all the time, like hold plank. And I'm like, can I just hold handstand instead? You know, so much more focus required for me. So I'll substitute handstand for plank or forearm balance for crow, right? Big inhale. Final last challenges here, yogis. The boat. Classic Hatha. Feet, ball of the feet touch. Here, it looks like this. Inhale. We didn't do this one all week. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now, if you want more, you could have your blocks add low asana. Big core. Inhale is low boat. Exhale is high boat. Ankles cross, tug in. Hands plant on blocks. Butt lifts. Inhale is a slow transition to low boat. Exhale, sit back up, cross the opposite ankle in front, and lift. And you do a few more. If that's too much, just do high boat to low boat. If that's too much, just lay on your back and do a little closed chain crunch. Feet down, hips down, and it's like a little inhale, reach back, exhale, reach up, and lift that core of the chest, kind of contracting the core. You know, when in doubt, yogis, you know, little crunch is safer than the big boat movement, right? So you could just do this. It's kind of like half. It's like a small one, right? Last few. And then what we're going to do after this is I am going to give you a few minutes to backbend today. No wheels all week. So when you're looking for a peak energetic mental challenge of mind and body, look to the wheel, right? All right, guys. So we didn't do that. You know, we did our locust. Wasn't like a big backbending class. So we do want to do some here. Looks like some of you are done with your abs. Now, wheel pose. I'm going to give you a good 3 minutes or so. So you got plenty of time. If you need to go on a bridge here, go ahead, feet down, arms down. You can put a block between your thighs. You know the deal here. I'm not even going to demo. Everyone's regular today. So it's back bending practice. I don't want to see you forward bending right now. We just did 1,000 forward bends. It's a very bad habit in yoga. You go into classes. I'm not trying to judge instructors, right? But yogis on the average know nothing about anatomy. They say I teach yoga, but really what they're teaching is exercise. Right? Yoga means, let's just be honest, yoga means union with God. That's what yoga means. Union with divine energy, union with the super soul, the over soul, the collective energy of the universe. Only in modern times has it become like union with the physical body. I was like, okay, you can't connect to the divine energy of the universe. Just start with connecting to yourself, you know, through physical work. I don't know where I was going with that. So what I want you to work on here, yogis, is one last like full heart and soul posture. Like put your entire being into the most intensity, energetically, mental and physical. And wheel is a good way to do that. You know, it's like more difficult than pretty much any posture we've done so far. So go ahead, flip your hands over your shoulders, hug your elbows in, not out, in, push through your hands, lift everything up off that ground. Your feet should start wide, about mat's width distance, maybe. Let's do it. Come on now. You know, there's a lot of days I'll say, all right, you don't have to. But today I'm saying, do it maybe. Okay, and then I want you to take a rest. You don't have to hold too long. It's like this short burst of like the most intense mind and body experience. And you lower down and you take a little breather, kindness. And then you go back into the work. The power. It's literally called, you know, the chakrasana, the symbol of the energetic vortex, you know, your chakras, right? Chakrasana, it's like an energy portal. That's why the yogis say like, oh, someone needs your energy. It's like, you're doing wheels, right? Like say somebody's in the hospital, you keep them on your mind's eye. So you see them clearly and you see an energetic band between you and them. And then as you're in a wheel, all that energy you're channeling, you see it go into the band to that person. It's a little deeper yoga philosophy there. So how about let's do 2 more rounds. We got time. Okay, nice, Jamie. So let's do our wheels. And if you're done, you can do restorative bridge. I get it. Some mornings, right? Nice, Brian. Nice, Stella. All right, last round. 1 more minute. All right, yogis. Nice job there. Hopefully you kind of got one last big go in the mind and body activating. Now we're gonna slowly kind of unwind here. Let's start with a little happy baby. So good idea to do a little forward bend. So happy baby is where you start by grabbing hamstrings, then it's like calf, ankle. You know the deal. Everyone here is familiar with this. Really, you work on straightening your legs too. We already did straddle, forward, fold, and triangle. Your gracilis is like done, but you can always go here again. Seasoned practitioners, it's plow posture. Biggest active extension into biggest weight bearing flexion. So it's this one here. Go slow. Don't you got to focus in this one, yogis. Be slow and controlled. Biggest forward bend of class. Last couple breaths. Remember, your knees bend and your spine rounds there to start. Work on getting those feet toward the floor, straightening your legs. With practice, you'll start to straighten your spine. So take the rounding out of your middle spine, and it's really into the hyper neck. That's a little bit more of the traditional full plow pose. Hips stacked over shoulders, spine actually like straight. Takes a lot of time to get to. By no means do you have to get there. All right, yogis. Eventually, let's grab our hamstrings, and I'm gonna just keep moving forward with this final part of class here. Let's make our way up to seated position. So we are gonna do the frog. If it's too much, you're just gonna go here, okay? Where you just do butterfly. You can even lay on your back and just let the soles of your feet come together, knees open, restorative approach more. This is enough. You're gonna get those inner thighs. If you want the big one, table, knees, feet wide, feet turn forward and back. Knees are wide as you can get them, right? Hips do not go forward or back. Maybe forearms come down. So remember we did this in the beginning? It's that same posture, but in like a very stretched form. You're just like this. You're either on your hands or your forearms. The hips are in line with the knees. They're not up here or like too deep. You're here. All right, a few breaths. Close your eyes. Really, there's like two main types of symmetrical straddles. One is very medial groin, one is posterior groin. Like straddle, forward, fold, whether it's seated, or if you forward fold, yogis, with the tension in your back line, it's a back line stretch, right? So in the beginning, we did this, and it's gonna be more like hamstring posterior adductor, which is called gracilis. Here, it's like adductor magnus. It's this big inner band right there, okay? Whereas the first I mentioned is here. They're good to know the difference. You can't do them all every day, but we are today. We do them both. All right, big inhale. That's a good, nice minute hold there. Let's slowly get out of there. And it's good to put weight in your hands and kind of shake your legs out. Now I'll do the opposite, which is kind of crossing your legs. The Gomukhasana today. If you want to do pigeon, by all means.
or double pigeon or figure four works, okay? Right heel outside left knee, left heel swings around. So this bottom leg is actually in pigeon, okay? Right sit bone down on the floor, chest tall, feet on the outer edge and they pull back. I'm trying to stack my knees more, okay? I'm not the best demo here, but eventually your knees will kind of stack. I'm on the outer edge of my feet. That's how we get the outer edge of the legs. So our legs were wide and our feet were on the inner edges. Now they're crossed, we're on the outer edges, the opposite, okay? Sit up tall, start to hinge the chest. If you want more, sit back up, left arm up, palm face to back. So if my right leg's on top, it's my left arm that goes up, kind of a little bit more traditional. It's just like eagle, same kind of pattern. Elbow hugs in, right palm out, palm face to back. Grab the shirt, strap, towel. Eventually you can almost bind your hands, but don't force it. Elbows in, chest lifts, and hinge.
But how's that breath work going, yogis? You can sit on a blanket or a pillow or a block. I prefer a little pillow instead because block can be a little bit too, I don't know, too high up or too kind of restricted. The pillow kind of gives a little bit here. Nice. Really big stretching right now, right? Plow into frog, into Gomukhasana. This is big stuff, yogis, all right? Big inhale, please. Slowly exit, about a 1 minute hold, right? Arms release first, legs release. If you know how to do it fancy, go ahead. Basically just second side, okay? I always feel like Gomukhasana, for me, I don't have like a tight IT band syndrome that a lot of people have. I don't really ever have to foam roll it or, I stretch my quads daily. So I don't know. I feel like my hips get tighter, like my glutes, and Gomukhasana gets me better, like deep around the hip. Whereas the pigeon will get me a little bit more like posterior IT band, like here. The Gomukhasana is a little bit more like higher up here for me. I do both. Just kind of feel what my body needs. That's why I mentioned both usually if we do one, because it's more like, wait, which one does your body need? That's probably the better choice. If your left leg's on top, your right arm goes up now. And then you find your bind, you close your eyes, and you kind of melt into the pose. All right, yogis. So, you take your time here. I'm not going to teach a twist. We did a dynamic one. We did the lunge, static, really hyper stretch. We did the very active and revolve moon. You're pretty good there. You don't always have to end with a, twist. It is a very traditional thing, but we are going to come to final meditation whenever you're done there. If you want to sit today, feel free. I like to set my hands up in intentional mudra, so you learn all these hand positions that create certain energy flows in the body. All right, so this is the Jiva, the Namaskar, the Anjali here. Okay, there's a lot of fancy ones too. The Gyan is one of the main ones in yoga. They say it reminds you, that you're much more than just a physical body. So the index finger touches the thumb. And you close your eyes. A lot of you, you can lay on your back. And I want to invite you to, to do a little active meditation to start on Sundays, because this class used to be called Hatha and meditation. So you remember things like my favorites, like working on observing the thoughts, or working on a gratitude meditation. So going into a particular intentional thought process. So just like we work on creating certain physical forms and energetic patterns in the body, we work on eventually doing that in the mind. It's like, let's call it like, mental asana, like creating certain positions in the mind. So one of the main ones the yogis talk about creating is gratitude. It's one of these like divine energies that create like harmony in the mind, body, and soul. The kundalini rises, the shakti is released via gratitude and humility. So we work on, kind of like practicing how do you make yourself feel more grateful, and then how strong can you emit that type of energy frequency in the mind and body. Another one is just passive shavasana. We don't want to always do too much in meditation. Breath work is okay. But yogis, today I do have my new class. It's at 9:15, so I do got to make it there on time. So I will leave you here to do your shavasana meditation on your own. Try to go as long as you can. If you can go 15 minutes till you almost like fall asleep in shavasana, that's ideal. But try to just really commit to this, but also relax. So there's this intention and effort, but it's also, you don't want to like have too strong of a mental activity there. All right. So our final meditation, I'll let you go on your own. Thank you guys for being here. I'll keep you updated. This class might be changing soon as things change here in California, but I'll keep you updated in the email. Thank you guys. Classes are on for tomorrow night and Tuesday morning. So hopefully I'll see you then. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste. Thank you, Robert.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.